remember when you were little, 4, 5 maybe, and you learned about the concept of sharing, or maybe I should say the threat of sharing. When I was little, my primary concern was myself. I remember my parents coming to me asking me to think of my younger brother and asking me, Jenna, will you please let Shane have a chance to play with your rolly telephone toy? But being that I was concerned about myself only, I wanted to decline every time. If you remember on Sunday, Ananias and Sapphira lived in the early church community, the very beginning of the church, and we're told in Acts that no one claimed any of their possessions as their own, but they shared everything they had. This community was Christ-centered, and they didn't think about themselves first. But the more important part is why they didn't think about themselves first, and that's because Luke tells us that all of the believers were one, in heart and in mind. If you lived in the first century at this time, you'd know that using the words heart and mind meant everything. They were all-encompassing words. So if we read this today, we would read all of the believers were one in everything that they did. This convicts me to think about how I live. Do you live in this kind of radical community? As a young girl, I didn't think about outside of myself. I could only see my toys. I couldn't see the greater picture. I still do that to some degree. I think we all do. I look at the early church and I wonder how they did it. I just don't know. But what I do know is this. As the church, we have been united through Christ's blood on the cross. And so we are united with our brothers and sisters in Christ. And this isn't just theoretically speaking or hypothetically speaking, it's practically speaking. And so practically speaking, this week, as we go out to live our lives, how can we live into that radical unity?